Back in 2007, Star Ocean: The First Departure was released on the PSP, and was the first time we were given the initial entry into the Star Ocean series that was released in Japan for the Super Famicom. Fast forward to 2019, The First Departure R landed on a Nintendo Switch and PS4 with no changes outside of some nicer looking portraits. Hey crew, welcome back. I'm Joe, and this is Star Ocean: The First Departure R. We'll be covering the main plot of this story with no spoilers, gameplay mechanics, and some of my frustrating experiences and thoughts on the game. In the far-off, underdeveloped planet of Roke, Roddick, Millie, and Dorn are a trio working for their town's defense force. While working on their daily routine of running through bandits, they learn of an outbreak in the town of Cool. This disease is contagious by touch, slowly turning the Rokians to stone, Millie's father being one of the many who succumbed to the disease. The worst part? They're still alive in this petrified state. Unknowing of how the virus outbreak began, Roddick, Millie, and Dorn are encountered by two Earthlings, Ronix J. Kenny, captain of the Terran Alliance, and Ilya Silvestri, second in command. They offer the three defenders a seat on the Countess, where they can work towards finding a cure to the virus, as they have reason to believe a third party somewhere in the galaxy has broken the pact of not interfering with early developed planets. Someone planted this potentially incurable virus across the planet of Roke, and it starts by going back 300 years in the past. That's right. Now, if you're familiar with the more recent release of the second story R, then you'll find many of the mechanics similar in a slightly more obtuse way. Battles are random encounters taking place in an arena style. You can have a max party of 4 where you can pull off flashy moves and magic depending on the character at the expense of your MP. You can flip between characters during battle if you find it easier to make use of certain moves or change strategies on the fly to work to your benefit. Players earn both experience and skill points each battle. Skill points are pumped into various perks, which you can only unlock by purchasing books from shops throughout the game. Like I did in the second story, pumping into effort and danger radar first allowed me to unlock the scout and training perks. This made it easier to grind for experience and SP. I dabbled in a couple other classes this time around, like cooking and appraising items, which I will say kind of saved my life at times, because you can make use of the meals outside of battle instead of using the items that you buy from the shop. And some of those question mark items you receive sometimes in a treasure chest can be a stronger weapon or armor for a party member. There's tons of specialties and perks you can pump SP into, which allows for flexibility in your playstyle between characters. From what I understand, this game took a more copy and paste approach of bringing just the PSP version over to the Switch. I honestly thought this would have had more quality of life options like what we just saw in the second story R, and considering this was a 2007 title being brought into 2019 at the time of the release, it's November of 2013 now, and at the time I'm recording this, although I'm all for resetting my brain to like play games that are in a more of a older JRPG style of random encounters and grinding mechanics and whatnot, I was just taken back at how archaic some of the mechanics were in comparison to what we just got in the second story R. I'm honestly not sure if that's a me problem or my expectations after playing SOR2, because in 2019, Square also dropped Collection of Mana, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy IX, all remasters, and those had some of the very, very basic simplified quality of life perks that make grinding and on-foot travel a little bit less of a nuance with that 3 times speed. It's crazy I'm even recommending this because I usually stray away from it personally until after I've beaten the game, but having a recruitment guide on hand if there's any particular characters you know you want to go looking for is kind of critical. And by kind of, I mean, yeah, you're going to need it. I apparently got screwed out of a couple early characters because I decided to say yes to the very first person I was able to recruit. On top of that, because I walked into a town and it triggered a cutscene, I missed out on being able to go to another area earlier, which apparently had another character waiting for me there had I gone there directly instead of exploring towns, because it's a fucking RPG.
Shut up!
Like, I felt like I was being punished for having 3 characters in my party until about 8 hours in. That's story 8 hours with maybe 2 or 3 private actions. Speaking of private actions, that's a thing. If you can find them, great. I didn't. We move on. It's rare for me to even say this, but if you plan on doing all of the private actions and go after particular characters based on the casting from Square's main website for this game, then by all means, please look up a guide. I can't stress that enough. You're going to be on foot and traveling by boat a majority of this game. There is a way to get a better means of travel, but I use that loosely. That also involves finding a character, so good luck, have fun with that one. I know I keep comparing this game to a lot of what I just played into Second Story R, which you know how much love I have for that game, but I just feel like maybe if I had separated myself a little bit more from playing the two titles almost back to back, I may have felt a little bit better about my overall experience. It's not a terrible game by any means, and I know I may have sounded extremely harsh towards the end here, but I have to call a spade a spade. If you're going to bring over a game from a portable console from over a decade ago, almost 15 years at that point, then it may benefit big time to at least provide some minor quality of life things like adding maps to dungeons, because that map searchability worked not one time in my entire playthrough. I can forgive a lot of that for it originally being a Super Famicom title where they were probably starting to run out of time towards the end. At the time of this review, I'm 19 hours into the game and I'm headed towards the final boss where I plan on wrapping up the game over the weekend, so feel free to stop by. It's also going to be my birthday weekend, so wish me a happy birthday or something. I don't know. Did you pick up or plan on picking up Star Ocean: The First Departure R? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'd love to know who your favorite characters are in the game. Thanks again for watching, and if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification icon so that way YouTube may or may not let you know when I have a video posted. You can also find me on Twitch Thursday to Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, where I'm generally playing some form of retro game or a Nintendo title or Mario Kart with the community as well. You can come on in, hit some shells at me, and then, you know, dip out. Just don't hack the lobby. We've had a lot of those lately. It's 2013 and somehow that's still happening. Anyway, until next time, this is Joe clocking out. Take care. Love y'all.